Welcome to Accomplished Minds, a community of inspired, passionate people from around the world building a new emerging economy. You might notice a different background. Today I'm not in Trinidad, but I'm interviewing from beautiful San Diego, California. Accomplished Minds is all about finding and learning from innovators and creators of all kinds in all human endeavors, whether it is technology, business, philanthropy, social entrepreneurship, art, or simply, or not so simply, living a life worth living. We are speaking with someone who has carved an artistic niche into a business that, according to Global Industry Analyst Inc., will cross 33 billion US dollars by 2015. It is an industry dominated with fewer than 10 corporate players, each with huge marketing budgets and a worldwide reach. Mandy Aftel, the owner and creator of Aftelier perfumes, has sidestepped the corporate juggernauts and has played a major role in recreating and revitalizing an art form which is over 4,000 years old. Mandy has an outstanding list of accomplishments. She has worked with Michelin star chef Daniel Patterson of Koi Restaurant, Daniel Barber of Blue Hill at Stone Barns, and other chefs. She has conducted classes and demonstrations for vintners and sommeliers, as well as the University of Southern California, the Cooper Hewitt National Design Museum, IDEO, the Culinary Institute of America at Greystone, Apple, Cliff Bar, the James Beard Foundation, New York University, Slow Food, London Design Festival, Esalen Institute, the French Laundry Restaurant, San Francisco Exploratorium, the San Francisco Decorators Showcase, and the American Center for Wine, Food, and the Arts. Wait, there is more. She has appeared on CNN and the PBS TV series Diary of a Foodie. Her work has been featured in Vogue, Vanity Fair, In Style, Time, Body and Soul, Natural Health, Alternative Health, Gourmet, Bon Appetit, Food and Wine, W Magazine, O Magazine, Allure, Health, Elle, Forbes.com, and 7 by 7. Mandy was named Best Scent in San Francisco Magazine's Best of the Bay, included on the It list of perfumers in Perfumer and Flavorist magazine. She was chosen as one of the 25 most influential people in perfume by BaseNotes.net and was named one of the top 7 bespoke perfumers in the world by Forbes.com. As an authority on natural essences and custom perfumes, she has participated in panels for the perfume industry under the auspices of the Fragrance Foundation, and in addition to her work as a perfumer, she is the author of 6 books. I had the pleasure of meeting Mandy last June as a student in one of her classes on blending natural perfumes. Mandy, as an example of a truly accomplished mind, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
You are an artist, an innovator, and an entrepreneur. I would like to speak to you first about creativity, the challenges of entrepreneurship, and grit. What got you started? What was your creative spark?
I fell in love with the materials. I think my greatest source of inspiration in terms of perfume are the materials themselves. I love natural essences. I love the way they smell. I love the texture that they have. I love they're intertwined with our history as a species across the globe in every country. They're rich in history. They're beautiful in smell and texture. They played a role in the development of so many places, so many countries, so many rituals. And I just kind of fell in love with them and followed my nose.
And before you were doing perfume, what was your life before?
I was a psychotherapist for artists and writers, and I was an author. And I worked with creative people because I've always been very attracted to artists and always was a writer myself. So I was working a lot with people around their creative issues as a psychotherapist in private practice. And I just followed my own creative thoughts. And I decided at one point I was going to write a novel and make my main character a perfumer. My first book I had written was about Brian Jones from the Rolling Stones. He was a Rolling Stone that died. And I went directly to the source and interviewed the Rolling Stones and lots of people in rock and roll. And so when I got interested in perfume for this novel I was going to write, which I never wrote, I went right to the source of old 100-year-old books about perfume, and they all had to do with natural materials. And the books were charming and witty and eccentric. And then when I went and took a class at a studio that taught aromatherapy here in California, I just fell in love and had this basic understanding of the materials, which I could not explain in a rational way. When I sat down to work with them, I understood them. I understood them in the way an artist understands materials. And I started a perfume line, which is not the perfume line I have now. Okay. And it had a lot of lessons for me. I lost that perfume line, which I will get to. But I had a perfume line, and I did the blending, and someone else did the business. I just got going. And it sold in Bergdorf's and Neiman's. It sold in lots of department stores.
Wow.
It was a big business.
So as an artist, how do you keep that creative artistic process going through the everyday up and down of your business?
It isn't hard.
It isn't hard?
I'm very picky and specific about what I do. And so I do what attracts me. I've kept my business small intentionally, and I cherry pick what I'm going to do. So I'm very involved and very inspired by the projects that I take on. And so I am inspired by what I'm doing. Like, I'm writing a book now. I just put out a couple new perfumes. I was very excited to have those creative opportunities to grow and to learn and to kind of to manifest all these creative things I was thinking about. So it doesn't feel a problem to me. But on the other hand, I don't do anything I don't want to do. It's the truth.
I like how you say that's a key. So you do what attracts you.
I do what attracts me, and it doesn't feel like work. I mean, I do probably technically work from the minute I get up till the minute I go to sleep, but it's my life. It's my joy. It's my passion. So I'm not looking at it as something that's a stepping stone to something else or something I want to get away from. I look at it as a complete joy and a learning experience and fun. It's totally fun to me, my business. I love it.
I love that. I love that answer, Mandy. I love it.
Thank you. It's the truth.
I'm sure being both an artist and an entrepreneur is a challenge, because other creative people face this challenge every day.
Right.
How did you define and then carved out your niche in an industry dominated by big budget players?
Well, I don't want a lot of the things that other people want. I kind of learned that when I had my other perfume business, the one I lost, one I had earlier. It went into big department stores. It was a kind of a model that most people, I think, do want. They want to be in stores. They want to sell lots of bottles. They want to have global reach. When I had that experience, I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like it. It wasn't interesting to me. So it's not hard for me to say no. So I think some of the key to me in life is saying no much more than you say yes. Say yes to say yes from all of you, from the deepest creative, nurturing part of yourself. So I'm not looking for my perfume to be a stepping stone to being in a lot of stores, being able to sell my business, making millions of dollars. I'm not interested in that. I like my daily life as it is right now. I love my customers. I love the bloggers and the people that write about my work, people like you coming to me and wanting to know what inspires me. I feel like it can't get any better than this. I feel very fortunate to do something I believe in so much and to have found a community that's supportive of it.
Something that you believe in, and you said that all saying no. Could you expound on that?
Well, I think some people are seduced by things. I see this sometimes with other perfumers where they want to, say, be in a lot of stores or have a rep for their line. I don't want any of those things. It doesn't sound good to me. I enjoy I feel like so lucky you can sell perfume from a website and that the person who buys, you have a connection with them. You're in their life. You make this beautiful thing. They treasure it. They take it home. They put it under their Christmas tree. This is how I think about it. They share it with the people they love. They turn other people onto it. And I'm in these people's life in this joyful, beautiful way. I wouldn't want a store or a rep to be involved in that. And also, every time you have either a store or a rep involved in a perfume business, you get to spend less money on the juice. And I like to spend a lot of money on my ingredients. I really enjoy buying the most beautiful ingredients and not worrying about the price for the perfume. For me, it's like making a beautiful dinner for friends.
Yeah.
I like to be able to get the things I think are the most beautiful to put in my perfumes. And if I had to, cut off certain aspects of the business to support these other situations like stores, my juice, the juice in the bottle, would have to cost less. And I don't want to do that. And another piece of it, because it's for business, I don't want to stop making it. Some people are looking toward a time where they won't be making the juice anymore, where they will have a fulfillment company that will make it and then another company that will ship it out. I don't really want that. I really love making every product myself. I love wrapping the packages and sending it out. I have lots of different cards I put in packages, and I put in a note, and we have patterned tissue paper and string, and I enjoy that whole aspect. I'm not looking for that to change.
So, Mandy, it's a way of life. That's your life.
It's a way of, and it's the way of life of an artist who has a business.
Yeah.
I feel very much like I have a business, and I am a business person, but I'm an artist that has a business. And I love too to change my mind. Like I'm glad, I'm not part of I don't know what they call market study.
Yeah.
I remember once a part of a market study, I did these fragrances for these hand sanitizers for this very big business. I did all the fragrances, and then they brought in a marketing team to talk about it. And I happened to have been sitting in on the meeting. It was the only time in my life I was part of it was so educational. And the people were urging other things in what we had done in this company with the business. And I said to them, they said they could predict what would be successful in fragrance. They're a big company. And I said, if you could really predict what was going to be successful, how come there's so many launches every year that fail? I mean, really, you can't predict these things, which is true. So I believe since nothing is predictable and since you only have one life, you should do what you think is beautiful and meaningful and find the tribe or the community that relates to that.
Find the tribal community. So true. I believe that everyone has a creative bone in their body.
Yes.
But the vital crux of the matter is that people just need to get started on their idea.
Yes.
Even if that idea does not work out, they need to move on to the next idea.
Yes.
They need to commit to following through with their vision time after time.
Yes, I think it's very important to fail. Like I got a lot out of failing, and I failed at lots of things. You can't be paralyzed by failure. You have to look at failure as something to learn from. I think the only real failure are failures you don't learn from.
Yes.
Those are real failures. But failures that you learn from, you realign your wheels. Like, you're going down the road and you're veering the wrong way and you kind of realign your wheels. I think there's a tremendous feedback system between being creative and having a business and what happens in the world. And I think it's kind of like being an athlete to be able to respond to it and shift what you're doing. I mean, which is not to say to be utterly formed by what's coming in, because I think you have to have a core.
Yeah.
Be in a dance with the world and let the world affect what you're doing, and then you put something out and you pay exquisite attention to what the world is saying, and you go kind of back and forth and you listen to your own intuitive voice. I find that a very exciting process to be in.
To be in. So then, what can you tell us then, okay, about the difference between having an idea and actually executing that idea? Because a lot of us have dreams and aspiration, but we just sit on it, basically.
The first step, the difference is you do the first step. You pay attention, dust yourself off, you do the second step. You pay attention, you dust yourself off, you do the third. The difference is people who break it down into steps and do the steps and pay attention to the response they're getting from the universe and keep going forward. Keep having the passion and the belief in what they want to do, but revising as they go along and revising what they're doing, sometimes dropping it entirely, sometimes going forward, sometimes changing what you're doing, but seeing that as a piece of the process. The journey is a huge piece of the process.
So what you're describing to me, this is what I define as grit, because you're keeping to your vision and you're keeping to your passion and you're keeping to your core, committing to your vision and grinding through life.
Yes, but I also think if it really resonates with you, and if you're really true to yourself and you have that passion for something, it isn't even grit. It's like it's not hard. I think a lot of things that look like they're hard are pretty easy. To me, to work at a job that I didn't believe in, that wasn't creative, that would take grit. I would need grit to be like working, say, in an insurance office. I would need like more than grit. This doesn't seem to me to take a lot of grit. Creativity is about fun. And then it's also about being thorough and being responsible and being honest with yourself and doing something with quality. But I don't think it's hard if you're doing what you really enjoy. Like look at like a dinner that someone's a terrific cook. It's a lot of work. They'll go from store to store to store looking for the right cheese and the right bread and so on, and then they'll take all this time with all these steps to make it. Then they'll put it out for people to enjoy it in a beautiful way. People, when they're engaged and it's creative, they do a lot of work. And they enjoy it and they don't think of it as work. That's the key.
So do you have any challenges that tested your mettle during your journey? Anything?
Well, when I lost my perfume business, for that first one, that was hard. And it really tested me. I did not think I would do business again. I thought I was very bad at it. And when I came back to perfume after that, I lost that whole business. And I realized I had learned a lot about the kind of business I didn't want to have. And as I've grown in the ways that I have kind of 4 separate aspects of my business. I have a perfume line. I do a lot of work with chefs and have a line of chef's essences. I do custom work for individuals, and also I make fragrances for other businesses, like a hand sanitizer business I make fragrance for, and other people. And I do teaching. So I teach, and I guess the 5th thing, which would be also, is I write. I'm working on a new book. I've written 3 books on perfume. I'm writing another one, a 4th. I think that for me, growing into having an actual business with products, a perfume line, a body care line, the chef's essences, getting back into having business with products for sale, which I'm very proud of, that was a challenge. And it was a challenge to kind of listen to my own inner voice about how I wanted to do business that fit for me. Again, the not being in stores, the making everything myself, the way I teach my classes, which you know about, to kind of do what it was that was felt very precious to me, that only I could do and that I could put out in the world, and to do in a way that I felt had a lot of integrity. So I've grown, and I continue to grow in that way of not following a regular business model, which I don't.
You don't?
I don't think I do, no.
You do it on your own terms, and that makes the success for you.
And for example, the classes I teach here, which I teach here 3 times a year, maybe 4 times a year. And I think, as you know, they fill up in about an hour.
Yeah.
They really fill up quickly. I feel like I'm teaching what it is I think is most important and what I would want to learn. I don't think I teach like anyone else. I want to teach people how to edit their perfumes, how to evaluate and edit the work that they do so they can do better work. So I focus entirely on that with each student to move them along from where they are and to understand and be inspired by the materials. I'd have to say that's mainly what I teach when I teach. I don't teach anything else.
You do create beautiful, unique scents, and
Yes, I hope I do.
and I had the opportunity of being engaged in many of your scents. But what inspires you? What is your muse, Mandy?
I think to a certain extent, there's several things that inspire me. First of all, the essences themselves are incredible inspiration to me. I find them so beautiful as to be like almost heartbreakingly gorgeous. I feel like it's like how people must feel that work with color or work with beautiful rubies or emeralds or that they're just inherently so gorgeous, the smells that I have collected from all over the world. So that's one piece. Another thing that really inspires me is music. I always blend to music. I am particularly very, very inspired by Bob Dylan. I've been inspired by him my entire life and by Leonard Cohen. I listen to music. It is very transformative to me. And I listen to a lot of other music too, but those are my favorites, the way they write. And what it is in the way that they write that inspires my perfume is I feel like what I'm trying to do with my perfume is capture an experience. But it's kind of an experience and a memory. It's a feeling of something that's happened, but it's not I went to the grocery store. It's something about love or something about sorrow or something about memory that I feel like someone will be able to touch in a song and I'll feel it. It'll be transmitted to me from the song. And then I will want to express that feeling in the art form that I know how to do, which is in smell. And I'm kind of hoping that when I give that to someone, they have a rich experience with it that takes them somewhere inside themselves and in their life. That's kind of what I feel my perfumes are about. I have this perfume that I made this year called Sepia. And I was very inspired by the old ghost towns in California from the gold rush, and particularly certain of the old buildings that were kind of a mess. I looked at them. I watched a lot of Westerns. I did a lot of reading. There was a particular Bob Dylan song that felt like it was about the Old West that was quite long, that just crawled into my being. And I wanted to capture that feeling about aging and the beauty of aging and wood and history sort of in a perfume. So that's what I was trying to do when I created that perfume. So that smell to me is a bit the smell of old wood, of antique things, of this experience of the West. It's all rolled up together, but it isn't specific. It's just more kind of imaginative and diffuse for me.
Wow.
That's an example of it.
Could you clarify to my audience the difference between natural perfume and mainstream synthetic perfume? Because I get asked that question a lot.
Well, mainstream perfume is very big business. It's what you find, say, in the big department stores, and it's if not totally synthetic, extremely close within a teeny less than 1%. Of that. It is not created from essences that you find in nature, and that have that rich history and that the kind of beauty of what you find in a garden or in cooking. They're not made from that. They're made from kind of a synthetic approximation of that. So the whole texture and way that they smell is different, and their history is different. So natural perfume for me is artisanal. It's, first of all, something that one person does by hand by selecting these very beautiful ingredients and putting them together in an artful way. And I must also say that there are many artisanal perfumers who do a beautiful job, who work either with both naturals and synthetics too. Okay. I choose to work only with naturals, but there are other artisanal perfumers, very talented, that work with both naturals and synthetics. Okay. For me, I find the natural essences to be so beautiful, they're what I'm more interested in. So I choose to only work with those.
Okay.
But the perfumes in a big store, those ones are made in a much more automated way with synthetic materials.
Creating scents is very personal.
Yes.
As you taught me, the olfactory membrane is the only place in the human body where central nervous system comes into direct contact with the environment.
Yes.
How do you take something so personal and so close to you and put it out there to the world for potential criticism?
Um, in a scared way.
Yes.
Scared. I've been very lucky. I've had bad reviews, but I've had an awful lot of good ones. And my work, which I think of as very, very personal. I mean, I really think of my purpose as personal, as like a message in a bottle, literally from me to somebody else. I've had a lot of good fortune in that people have liked them, and even like the really difficult ones. I have a range of perfumes in my line, and some of them, if it happens to be me that answers the phone and talks to someone, if I think they're more mainstream, I will never bring up the more difficult ones. I'll always say, I don't think you want to start with it. Like sepia. I won't bring up sepia unless I think somebody's an adventurer. So I have ones that are easier to like, and I'll say, this one's really easy to like. And sometimes someone will ask me, well, what about sepia? What about seps and tuberose? What about tango? They're harder. And I'll say, they're not for everybody. I'll try to talk people out of them so that they won't get them and be unhappy. But I find it hard, but I find it part of the process. And I've been very lucky in that I have found people that enjoy my work, and it makes me feel so good. It's kind of really worth it to me, and you have to take both. You don't like it and the people who do.
So then what are you most grateful for?
Most grateful, you mean in my life or
yes.
in this thing? Oh, I'm very, very grateful that I get to do this work. I'm very grateful that I'm with a partner, Foster, that we do the business together. We're like two kids in a business, and we have the best time together. I'm so grateful that he's in my life and that I get to share every little bit of this business with him, that we have it together and do it together. Yeah. And I'm grateful that my health seems good and that I have so much joy in my life, and that I get to have every day I get up and I'm really so excited about the day. I'm happy with my life. And I feel like it's something really to be grateful for.
That's a life worth living, Mandy. You have it. What has been a constant theme in your artistic journey?
I think a constant theme in my journey has been, I have my own drummer that I march to. You know, I when I was a little girl, my father used to say to me, and it wasn't a compliment, everybody's out of step but Mandy. You know, that I kind of was marching to my own drum. And I've always been kind of just my own person. Which is, had very hard times associated to it and very terrific times. It's kind of extreme. And I'm so deeply rooted in my feelings and my life that I just kind of got to be me. And I feel like that's a great gift, to just be yourself in your life and to find a few people that love you and to get to do work you believe in. Yeah. I feel like that's been a wonderful, wonderful gift that I've been given.
Wow. What's the next chapter of your life?
Next chapter of my life is trying to write a new book. I have a contract for a new book, and I have an idea for a new book on perfume, and it's incredibly ambitious and scary. Talk about scary. And I'm reading and thinking. I'm very excited about it. It's kind of the next book after Essence and Alchemy. Mm-hmm. It's a kind of worldview book. It's about 5 rock star essences and how the effect they have on our human appetites, that we are as humans, how it's had such a big effect on us, our history, and then some things about food and about fragrance, about each one of them, and then the spiritual component, the components about beauty, about home, about adventure, taking in a lot of history so that these very rich ingredients can be taken into people's lives.
Wow, that's a lot.
It's exciting. It's a lot. It's a lot, but I'm very excited to see if I can do it.
And you have a time frame for that completion?
I do. I have a time frame, and time is marching on.
Okay. Well, Mandy, thank you so much for your insights on this
Thank you.
creative process of my favorite subject, perfume. One thing I got out of this interview is your commitment to one's own vision. It's so
Yes.
necessary for success.
Yes, if I got that across, I really believe that. And it doesn't mean to not take in criticisms and adjust to things, because I think it's a give and take with the world, but to both be real about what's going on in the world and also to really do the necessary work to do the best possible version of what it is you want to do.
Yes, the best possible version of what it is you want to do.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. The questions
Thank
were
you.
so deep and
Thank you.
meaningful. Thank you so much.
If you'd like to see more, subscribe to accomplishminds.com.